Hello, hello, everyone. Oh, hello, everyone. We are live. We're rocking and rolling. There we go. There's always that little delay. Where I'm like, am I live? Am I not live? Can I pick my nose? Can I not pick my nose? Welcome, everyone. Afternoon. Yes, who's ready for QUALI? Just over 15 minutes until we get underway in Q1 at the Hungaroring. And I believe the weather is dry. I didn't see F2 earlier, so apologies, anyone. And those of you who watched F2, was it dry? Yes, a plain white top today. No Ferrari logos on here. I'm not here to jinx anyone, so we are neutral in that sense. If your driver or your team performs poorly here in qualifying, direct it at them. You can't direct it my way. So, evening from India. Evening. Good day from Thailand. Good to see you, Rod, as always. Evening, everyone. Afternoon. Good morning. It was dry. Okay, good. It was dry. So that's interesting. I think a dry quali, obviously a wet quali will spice things up a bit and spice the order up a bit. But I think qualifying's so good at the moment and so close that we want to see dry qualis, don't we? So, Dunn kicked ass again, did he? Dunn got the job done. Did he actually? Because he got removed, didn't he? He got removed of the race win at Spa, which was a real shame. So, yeah, a man scorned here at the Hungaroring, it seems like. So, I'm looking like Bradley Cooper with the white top. I'll take that as a compliment, Bram. Thank you very much. So, you made it back to back, Murray. Wee, good to see you. A cold winter's night in Australia, Stephen. What's the temperature there? What is the temperature? You fixed your car, Mike. You've done some shopping in time for qualifying. You're winning today. You've had a very productive day. Very productive day, and it's not even 3 o'clock yet. Well done, man. What if Stroll gets a podium? I mean, if he does, I'm not going to say I'm going to do anything because you never say never in F1, but I doubt it. As I mentioned, the cynic in me thinks that the lap times that we've seen from Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso in these sessions has been to try and gain some decent publicity for the team as Aston Martin have announced they're divulging their shares, or divesting their shares. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Aww, cuddles. Hello. She's a bit like this in her afternoon naps and her naps now. She's a bit more chilled. Yeah. Commentator's curse? No. 13 degrees in Sydney. I quite like a winter's night, though, to be fair. Oh, my God. Well, I'll tell you what it isn't. I'll tell you where it isn't 13 degrees or 7 degrees at Hungary. We need to check this track temperature. $52.5 degrees. Sorry, what? What? We're over halfway to boiling. 52.5 degrees track temperature. That is unbelievable right now. Oh my God, that is a very hot track. That is not what a lot of the teams are going to want to see, for sure, because keeping your tyres in check here is a tall order. Keeping those temps down is already difficult enough at a circuit like Hungaroring, let alone 52. Oh, it's just dropped 0.3 of a degree. Now, the track temperature here, as we've mentioned, if you're just tuning in for the first time this weekend, it can fluctuate quite dramatically. If there is cloud cover, which we have seen, and there is plenty of cloud cover out there, the track temperature can drop dramatically, as much as 10 degrees, but it can also swing the other way 10 degrees as well. And I'm talking degrees, not Fahrenheit, ladies and gentlemen, so apologies if you are in the Fahrenheit, but yes. I don't know what 52.2 degrees in Fahrenheit is, but it's hot. Didn't it rain there a couple of hours ago? It may have done, but yeah, Hungary can get like that. So Morning, and yes, welcome everyone. Taco, imagine being productive. You're still a teenager. You don't know what the word productive even means, do you? Is there a limit the track temperature can be for a quali session? No. No. It's a fair question of what the... Someone could Google it for me. What the hottest track temperature ever has been in F1. I'm going to imagine 60, over 60 degrees somewhere. But yeah, no. They just have to deal with it. Simple as. They just have to manage the tyre. What you see is a certain management in... You even see tyre management in quali. So yeah, that's crazy. We don't ever want to see that. But yeah, some teams may... be massively affected by this, but it has just dropped again. 52.1 degrees as the air temperature is fluctuating a little bit at the moment. So, hey, Dusko, good to see you, mate. 30 degrees air Celsius plus 50 track. Yeah, I know it's hot. Hey, old, good to see you. It's 126.5 degree Fahrenheit. Oh my god. McLaren looking out the top spots in FP3. Can they sustain this edge through qualifying? Edge, can they sustain this edge? It's more than an edge they've got. Jesus. They have got an absolute mile on the rest of the field at the moment, and they are comfortably going to look after this. But hey, Fratterson! 5 gifted subs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That should be coming through as a alert any second now. If it isn't, I'm going to be very disappointed. There we go. Much, much appreciated. Those of you who have been fortunate to receive a gifted there from Fratterson, who's been a long-time member of this channel, please say thank you. Give W's in the chat. Thank you, guys. The pit crew. Stuffey's pit crew. My pit crew is gaining new members. We're going to need to get a bigger garage. We're going to need to get a bigger garage. 61 degrees Celsius is it, Dan? Oh, where was that at? Where was that at, if you don't mind me asking? Have a cup of tea, coffee instead. It's Kermit tipsy. Yes, guys. If you don't know, if you wasn't part of the conversation yesterday, I'm a Brit that doesn't drink tea. I'm in an exclusive group. Bahrain 2005 was 56 degree track temperature. Okay, so the hottest ever. So 61 degrees wasn't the hottest ever then. So where was that from, Dan? If you can find that, because the other guys are 56 degrees. But even so, that's hot. I think we saw 56 degrees last year here, even at the Hungaroring. So why is there a yellow flag? There isn't actually a yellow flag out there. It's just a carry on from the last session. No drink tea, Stuffy. You're a Brit. I know. Am I truly a Brit? That is the question. So, 61 degrees was the air temperature. I mean, Jesus, 61 degree air temperature is a lot. So, do I think there will be a safety car needed? What, for quali? Not for quali. No, there's never a safety car. For the race on Sunday, maybe. Yeah. I mean, my prediction here, guys, is we are going to see a red flag here. I think we're going to see a big crash at some point in quali here. I think we are. The speeds that these cars carry, the fact of that there's very little room for error here. We have seen big moments here already this weekend. We've seen some spins. We've seen drivers get into the grass. I think when these drivers are on the limit, which they're no doubt going to be in quali, I think we're going to see a big moment here, and potentially someone crash in Q3. We'll see. These Stuffy is a spy. Time on screen. Oh, yes, apologies. Apologies. I always forget that this doesn't carry over. Sorry. Session start. There we go. 7 minutes. 7 minutes. The highest recorded track temperature during a Formula 1 qualifying session was 1984 Dallas Grand Prix, where Goodyear measured an astonishing 65.6 degrees Celsius. Oh my god. Good old ChatGPT, eh, Carl? Do I drink my coffee black, no sugar, or weaker? So I love a sweet tooth. Sorry, I have a big sweet tooth. I cannot drink black coffee, no. So I'm a latte, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just a latte or a flat white. Yeah, with either a couple of sweeteners. I avoid the sugar. And if I don't have sweeteners, some sugar-free syrup. So Drivers vomited and passed out dangerously hot Qatar. The highest recorded track temperature in an F1 race was 61 during the first free practice session at 2016 Malaysia. Cool. I remember obviously Qatar was ridiculously hot. Yeah, that's why they moved Qatar further back in the season, didn't they? So it's a bit cooler. Crash, possibly Norris, error prone or Antonelli on the edge. I mean, look, we've seen Piastri as well. I'm not saying Piastri's going to crash or even Norris, but I just do think that we're going to see a crash here from one of the drivers pushing it like crazy. So that was a race when the track actually broke up. I feel like I've seen images of that somewhere. So be right back. Another Brit drinking coffee. Go for it, Marky. You like apple juice, Taco? Well, yeah, you would like apple juice. You're not even a drinking age yet. Extra large flat white 1 sugar. Cappuccino. I don't mind a cappuccino. It's just it's a bit too frothy for me sometimes. Feels like I'm drinking the first part of the first few sips. It's like I'm drinking air. So. Your dad is an American who drinks hot tea religiously. He's mildly obsessed with British history culture. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I've just never got on with it. I've just never liked tea. Yeah, strange one. Very strange one. My missus, mate, has made it a life goal. Mrs. Stuffeyy has made it a life goal for me to drink tea. And I'm sorry, it's a life goal she's going to fail miserably at. She's achieved a lot in life, but that's one thing she's not going to... It's one thing she's not going to achieve, so... what's the name of the website? This is Multiviewer. So, half black coffee and half hot chocolate is amazing. Oh, what a mocha. Yeah, that's how I initially got into coffee. Oh, wow, another 5 gifted subs there from No True Scotsman. Scotsman, thank you. Much appreciated. If you have been fortunate enough for a gifted sub there from Scotsman, give him a W in the chat, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you. You do not like tea. I get it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I get it. So, you think Norris will grab pole and lose the race to Piastri? What, a repeat of last year? Potentially. Yeah, potentially. Should you super chat or buy membership or give membership? Choose one. Treat yourself, man. Look after yourself first. Look after yourself first and buy yourself a membership. You just drink Monster all day. I do like a Monster as well, to be fair. Right, here we go. So, Scott just drink tea. She won't be happy to it. It's all right. There's 4 years away from black coffee. You have to be at least 50 before you're allowed to drink black coffee. Well, they do say, Lee, that it's like bitter, drinking a pint of bitter or ale. Your taste buds change, and you generally like more bitter things as you get older because you're more bitter about life. So your taste buds like the more bitter taste of things as well. So, my pleasure, Ollie. Always love these streams, guys. So as I say, I keep up to date as much as possible with F1, and sometimes I'm wrong. I'm not always right, but that's where you guys come in and correct me. So we're a collective here, eh? Just drink water. I drink plenty of water as well. But yes, when you get into the real working world, you need that extra boost of caffeine, you know. And especially when you have kids. Anyone who's had kids, you know, you need that. Yeah. Sometimes your morning coffee is all you have to get you through the day. Oh, don't look pretty down there in your pink tracksuit. And her pink bow. I'm bittersweet. I'm joking. He mostly drank intense espresso. The smell was amazing. Yeah, I mean, proper like coffee, freshly made coffee is lovely. And as I've got older, I do appreciate like a nice smooth coffee. You definitely tell the differences. So, Max will qualify top 6 and surprise us. He finds something in quali. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Max Verstappen. So that's enough of the hot drink chat, guys. Those of you who are just tuning in, you're probably thinking, what sort of watch along have I tuned into? But that's why we're unique here in this watch along. For many reasons, exactly one of those conversations being it. But back to F1, as we are just under 2 minutes away from Q1 getting underway. And, well, yes, the big thing is what will Max and Yuki be able to achieve? Yuki not happy with that car. Spa was a much better performance for him, but they're really struggling here this weekend. Max complaining again at the end of FP3. So have they been able to find some magic from that session to this session, as they have done many times before? We will see. But, yeah, I think he's definitely on the back foot here. I think he'll still get Q3. But I tell you what, I think a top 8 for Max Verstappen is a good qualifying from what we have seen thus far in all the practice sessions. So, as a uni student, caffeine is the only thing that keeps you alive. Will it rain, Ray? No, I don't think so. No, it does seem like it's going to be dry at the moment. Of course, if it does start raining, you can check up here at the top of the screen. It does have rain, so if it starts falling, this will change to yes, obviously, and obviously all the other data available as well. I imagine the track temperature will start to decrease quite dramatically as well if there is rain in the air. As you mentioned, cloud cover here has caused the track temperature to fall as much as 10 degrees in the space of around 15 to 20 minutes, which is what we've seen in practice. And of course, our first Q1 session is 18 minutes long, so yeah, it could dramatically change from the start of this session to the end of this session. Now, track evolution is essential here at the Hungaroring, so expect drivers to go out there, get some banker laps in. It's going to be a very busy circuit. It's a track where you need to have your wits about you, ensure that you're not impeding. We have seen many penalties here in the past because of that very dangerous middle sector in particular, and then also drivers and pretty much whoever goes out there last could be making their way through. There are going to be big gains here. So there we go. Green light. Any second now. The timer is done. And there we go. Green light. PX is open. Quali is underway. No drivers yet making their way to the end of the session. Is there a bit of spot of rain on the way? There might actually be a bit of spot of rain on the way down the start-finish straight. There might be a little sprinkle of rain on the start-finish straight. Potentially, but no one's made it out there yet. Everyone's just waiting. Everyone's waiting. So, yeah. How's your day going, guys? We're waiting for them to get out there, and no one wants to get out there. So, my day's going well. Hope you're treating yourself well. Yeah. Not really, don't know. Not really much else to talk about right now, is there? Everyone's just chilling in the pit box. But yeah, as I mentioned, this. Oh, there we go. We have movement. Well, you can see the speedometer there. Carlos Sainz giving us something to talk about and keep an eye on. Yes, Carlos Sainz. Good lad. Good lad. Here we go. So, Carlos Sainz. And remember, guys, pole position of last year was a 15.2. We have already seen that smashed by the two McLarens earlier on. And I think we saw that, from Pierre Gasly? What am I saying? Pierre Gasly. Oscar Piastri earlier on in FP3 and Lando Norris as well. So, yeah, these cars are going to smash the 15-second mark, and I expect pole position to be pushing probably the 14-second range. But, yeah, they're taking the plunge first, the two Williams. Now, teams, as we mentioned, are probably waiting quite a while because track evolution is going to be key here. And, well, the later you go out, the better you're going to be, to be honest. But there is always the risk of red flags, yellow flags, etc. Of that. So there's a risk to every scenario in qualifying, whether you go out first, whether you wait to go out later. But at the moment, Sainz and Albon, it looks like they're going to have a free track unless drivers start to make their way to the end of the pit lane, and this could benefit them, and they're going to set some benchmarks. So thank you, Daz, much appreciated. Do I get a migraine if I skip my coffee? No, I'm all good, Mike, to be fair. I'm quite fortunate in that sense. Stop the count, yeah. Do I think Max will make it out of Q1? Yes, Rab, yeah, he'll make it out of Q1 for sure. Do I think Lewis will be on the podium tomorrow? I think he's got a good opportunity, but I think his teammate is quite comfortable. The two Ferraris thus far do seem to be comfortably second best to the McLarens. So I think it's between comfortably the two Ferraris to get pole position to get a podium tomorrow and probably get third and fourth today, but you never know. Of course, when it comes to qualifying. But Charles has had the advantage over Lewis Hamilton this weekend thus far. He does look to be better in tune with that Ferrari. But let's keep an eye on signs, shall we? As he heads down into the braking zone of turn 2. So, of course, 2 DRS zones here as Alex Albon opens his DRS there down into turn 2. We've seen many good overtakes into this corner as Max Verstappen is now making his way to the end of the pit lane. We have movement, the 2 Red Bulls, Yuki Tsunoda as well. Sainz makes his way through the kink, then into the long right-hander of turn 5, off-camber corner there. Need to be careful of track limits on the exits where Yuki Tsunoda lost control of his car last year. I think they have fixed that for this year, though. As he makes his way through the middle sector. Very, very quick changes of direction here where the front grip is required. Are they able to keep those tyres within the right window? And then through the fast right-hander of turn 11 where track limits is also policed. So just need to be careful of that and see if anyone else has their lap times deleted. Turn 12 is also an area where we do see drivers go wide. Turn 13, very long left-hander here. Need to be careful of the rears. This is where the car is squirting around as the tyres are screaming for help at the end of a lap at the Hungaroring, and Carlos Sainz comes across the start-finish line with a 1:18.2, which is slow to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if Alex Albon can beat it. He is comfortably going quicker than his teammates, and well, Carlos Sainz seems to have had a very slow first sector and second sector. So I don't know if he locked up maybe into the first corner, to be honest with you. That's quite a considerable difference to his teammates in the first sector. So Sainz has had a bit of trouble in that first sector this weekend, but anyone else on the lap at this moment in time? No. So Verstappen will be the next driver out there to set a lap, but you can see the track is now starting to get a bit busier. So let's see. Is there a chance of rain? There is a potential chance of rain. Yes, for sure. So, hey Alex, you're listening to me by the pool as you have no Sky Sports. Thanks for that information of letting us know you're by the nice sunny poolside, Alex. So, thanks, man. Love that. But yeah, so Max Verstappen starting his lap now. What can he do? What can the 2 Red Bulls do? They've been struggling here this weekend as he makes his way down into turn 1 in the braking zone. So is it a good first couple of corners for Max Verstappen as he makes his way down now into turn 2. He seems to be going okay. We won't get an idea of what his first sector time is like until he crosses that line just before turn 4. He'll have a few cars ahead of him to navigate his way round. Fernando Alonso being that car directly in front of him. And it's a 27.7 for Max Verstappen, and that is 4 tenths quicker than Alex Albon in the first sector. So not too shabby from Max, as Tsunoda is around a tenth behind his teammate there. He makes his way through the middle sector now, through that chicane, through turn 8 and the right-hander of turn 9. We'll keep an eye on some other sector times as well, as the McLarens have just made their way through, and Norris is actually a tenth down, more than a tenth down, in the first sector on Max Verstappen. But we know the strength of the McLarens isn't in that first sector, it's in the second. Max goes quickest in the second sector as well with a 26.8, so not too shabby from him. That is half a second quicker than that of Alex Albon in the Williams, and Tsunoda at the moment is still another tenth behind Max in the middle sector. As Oscar Piastri, oh my goodness, a 27.6 from him in the first sector. He is not waiting around. As Max crosses the line with a 1:16.346. How can Yuki do? What is he behind him? On average, around a tenth slower. Only 0.188 behind Max Verstappen. Yuki Tsunoda was on that first run. That's not too shabby. But Max Verstappen is in P1 at the moment. But for how much longer? Not too much longer, I presume, as Lando Norris goes to the top of the timing screens with a fast last sector with a 1:15.9. Straight into 4 tenths quicker than that of Max Verstappen. But Oscar Piastri has gone purple in the first sector. In the second, is he going to go purple in the last sector? He does indeed, and sets a benchmark of a 1:15.5, nearly 4 tenths quicker than that of his teammate Lando Norris, who had a slow first sector in particular over his teammates. So drivers out there, a lot of drivers out there now. Who's going to be the next driver to cross the start finish line? It is actually going to be Lewis Hamilton. Let's see how he fares on his first run, and he goes third, just a couple of hundredths, 200ths of a second behind Lando Norris actually, with a 1:15.9, and he has 3 tenths, nearly 4 tenths actually, over Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc is making his way through the middle sector right now. We'll keep an eye on him as Lance Stroll goes 2 tenths quicker than that of Max Verstappen with a 1:16.1 and Max with a 1:16.3. Oh my goodness, Lance Stroll 2 tenths quicker than that of Max Verstappen. Yes, you heard that correctly. How about Fernando Alonso? He goes 4 tenths quicker than Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Oh my goodness, the Aston Martins. Kimi Antonelli just gone purple in the middle sector. Charles Leclerc goes 6th fastest, 6 tenths slower, 6.5 tenths slower than that of Oscar Piastri. So he is only just ahead of Max Verstappen. Hadjar's gone in half a second quicker than, half a second slower than that of Piastri. He's in P5 at the moment. So it's Piastri, Norris, Hamilton, Alonso, Hadjar in 5th, Stroll 6th, Leclerc 7th. Antonelli's on a flyer. Liam Lawson is making his way across the start-finish line now, and he goes up into P9 and splits the 2 Red Bull cars. And I'll tell you what, the 2 Red Bull cars are absolutely struggling big time here. The struggle is real, it seems, as George Russell's gone fastest in the middle sector. So a bit of pace there for George Russell. He's struggled in that middle sector through the practice sessions, so maybe they've added a bit more downforce to that Mercedes to try and balance it out across the track. As Antonelli goes 2nd fastest, a 1:15.7 for Kimi Antonelli with a fastest first sector there, so not too shabby from him. 2 tenths back from Oscar Piastri, but George Russell has just gone 2nd fastest. The 2 McLarens are sandwiched. They're the meat in the McLaren sandwich at the moment. George Russell 2nd, 700ths of a second behind Oscar Piastri. We do have more drivers out there on laps though at the moment. Colapinto moves himself up into P10. I'll tell you, we'll have a look at the order once the drivers have made their first runs here, as the Red Bulls are getting pushed further and further down the standings here. Max Verstappen is now 12th. Yuki Tsunoda is now 14th. Verstappen's now 13th at the moment. Carlos Sainz is on another lap and he is improving, green in both sectors, as is Alex Albon as well. Carlos Sainz goes only 15th. He's not able to push the Red Bull of Max Verstappen further down, but Yuki Tsunoda is now in the drop zone. How about Alex Albon? He is improving. He's the last driver out there at the moment on a flyer, as they went out there very early on. He's on a 2nd set of fresh softs, and he slots in just ahead of his teammate Carlos Sainz. So at the moment, after the first run here, with 7.5 minutes remaining in Q1, we have Sainz, Tsunoda, Behrman, Gasly, and Ocon out in the drop zone. But we have Max Verstappen only a 10th above the drop zone in 13th place. He is currently slower than Bortoletto in the stake, Hulkenberg in the stake, Colapinto in the Alpine, Stroll and Alonso in the Aston Martin, and slower than Hadjar in the Red Bull RB car. What is going on with that Red Bull? We thought that this would be a bit of a poor circuit for them, but this is... I mean, he can still dig deep. There's still another opportunity out there, but they are struggling. At this point, it ain't even Yuki's driving anymore if Max can barely avoid relegation. Well, we'll see. We'll see. He's still a 10th ahead of Carlos Sainz there. It's whether or not he can improve. The Haasies are considerably slow. I thought the Haasies would do a bit better, to be perfectly honest. But yes, that is a bit of a shocker. So Piastri fastest at the moment with a 1:15.5. Russell with a 1:15.6 in seconds. So he's just under a 10th behind Oscar Piastri. Antonelli in 3rd, 2 tenths behind Piastri. Norris, not the best lap from him. Nearly 4 tenths behind his teammate. Lewis Hamilton in 5th, Alonso 6th, Hadjar 7th, Stroll 8th, Leclerc 9th, Colapinto 10th. But track evolution is a factor here. We are only going to see this track get quicker and quicker as Lance Stroll is back out there. He's not wasting any time with 6 minutes remaining. So let's see how these drivers fare. There's definitely still going to be a change up of the order here, with at least 1, maybe even 2 more attempts here at Hungary. We will see. I told you earlier, Red Bull are the 6th fastest team this weekend. I mean, potentially. I still didn't think the Aston Martins have got the pace here this weekend, but I mean, maybe I'm genuinely wrong. Maybe it was true pace and they weren't just turning the engines up earlier in the practice sessions. Maybe the cynic in me is wrong. Yesterday's prediction of Red Bull not making Q3 is looking good. Was that my prediction? Did I make that prediction? Did I say that? I can't remember if I did, to be honest with you. But welcome back, everyone. Hope you are good. Why has Leclerc took the smaller wing? Has he taken the smaller rear wing? Oh, no. What has he done that for? Has he really? Why has he taken the smaller rear wing? That seems very bizarre. That seems a bit of a ridiculous decision, considering he was wasn't he running more downforce the majority of this weekend? And he seems to be very good pace. So why has he decided to take that decision? Okay, so yeah, that's not ideally very good. Red Bull doesn't give you wings no more. But right, Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso, the only drivers out there at the moment. You can see the two McLarens, their speedometers there and their icons making their way to the end of the pit lane. So they are coming out again and going for a second run. So they don't feel comfortable either. They reckon there's going to be a lot of improvement here at this ever-evolving Hungaroring. So Lance Stroll makes his way through the first corner. And let's see what he can do. Is there true pace in the Aston Martin this weekend? An Aston Martin that significantly struggled at Spa last time around and has struggled for the majority of this season. They've arguably taken a step backward with their updates. Maybe, like the Mercedes, they've reverted to old spec parts and they have got quicker. As Lance Stroll sets the fastest middle first sector out of anyone today at 27.590. So Lance Stroll flying at the moment, but his teammate, who is not far behind, he's making his way through that first sector right now. Let's see what his first sector time is, and it's even quicker by 700ths of a second than that over his teammate, as the two McLarens have made their way out of the pit lane. And interestingly, Verstappen and Tsunoda there as well. We'll keep a keen eye on them. Of course, they are at risk. Tsunoda in the drop zone at the moment in 17th, and Verstappen flirting with it in 13th. But Stroll, a 26.6 from him in the middle sector. It's not fastest, understandably, as that does belong at the moment to his teammate Fernando Alonso, who is going to go to the top of the timing screens here, it seems here, as Stroll is currently in third and splits to two Mercedes. He is a 10th behind Oscar Piastri with a 1:15.6, but Fernando Alonso has one more corner to navigate here, and this does look like this is going to be a comfortable Q2 performance for them, as they, oh my goodness, he's gone nearly 3 tenths quicker than that of Oscar Piastri. No wonder the McLarens are back out there if the Aston Martins have just gone nearly 3 tenths quicker than the time they set in the first run. Interesting. Leclerc is on a Barca wing, but just a bit smaller than the Monaco wing. Interesting, Connor. Very interesting times. But let's keep an eye on Oscar Piastri. He is the next driver to make his way out there. He is heading his way down into Sector 1. He did previously have the fastest first sector out of anyone earlier on when he did his attempt, but it has been taken away by a few drivers, Antonelli, Stroll and Alonso. We have seen times get quicker. Is he going to go sub 1:15? I think he is this time around. Let's see what Piastri is going to be able to do, especially if the Aston Martins are pushing to the 1:15 second mark, as he's done the quickest time in the first sector at 27.487. And, well, that is a 2.5 tenths advantage and gain over what he did in his first attempt. So that just shows how much quicker this track is getting. As you can see, the track temperature is falling right now. It's 43.3 degrees. It started around the 50-degree mark, and, well, that is definitely going to help drivers and make them go quicker. Lando Norris not able to match his teammate in that first sector at the moment. He's around half a tenth off with a 27.5. Piastri fastest in the middle sector again, unsurprisingly, but only by a couple of thousandths over his teammate. How is Max Verstappen getting on? Well, Max has improved in that first sector. We'll keep an eye on Oscar as he makes his way across the start-finish line. But the key eye here is on the two Red Bulls. He's done a 1:15.211, Oscar. He's only 7 thousandths of a second quicker than Fernando Alonso. Crazy times here at the Hungaroring in Q1, as Norris only goes up into P3 and cannot meet or he can't even beat Fernando Alonso. But let's move to Max Verstappen. He's green in the first sector. He's green in the second sector, as is Yuki Tsunoda as well, who's slightly off of his teammate's time. They're currently at risk here, and what are they going to improve by? It was a 16.3 last time around, and it's now a 1:15.7, but he's still half a second off of Oscar Piastri. Is that going to be good enough? Tsunoda slots in with time that's a 1:15.899. So he's a couple of attempts back from his teammate, and really 7 attempts back from Oscar Piastri, as Hadjar moves up into P3. 3 attempts back quicker than that of Lando Norris there. Colapinto's just gone full fastest in the first sector, so the track is dramatically improving here as we're in the closing stages of this Q1 session. Drivers starting their laps right now as Bortoletto moves up into P5. That pushes Tsunoda down another position, and Max Verstappen. Many drivers out there now on laps and improving. Lots of green sectors there across the board. Carlos Sainz moves up into P7 and pushes Stroll and Verstappen down even further. Lewis Hamilton starts his lap. He'll be one of the last drivers to cross the start-finish line, as will be Charles Leclerc as well. Pierre Gasly, he's green across the board and only moves up into 13th in the struggling Alpine. Colapinto, he's making his way around the last corner as well. Let's see how he fares, as Lawson, I think, is the last driver to start his lap here, as Colapinto moves up into P11 and is up 3 positions ahead of his teammate Pierre Gasly at the moment. So it is currently Charles Leclerc, Lawson, Albon, Behrman and Ocon in the bottom. And Albon is confirmed there, not able to improve in 17th and is not going to be making his way through out of Q1. A poor performance from him here in the Williams as Carlos Sainz, for once, has out-qualified his teammate. Esteban Ocon, though, he's green in the first and second sector. Is he going to be able to drag himself from the bottom of the standings? He can into 15th, but Charles Leclerc has set the fastest first sector out of anyone at the moment, as Behrman moves himself up into 10th and pushes his teammate down into the bottom 5. And it's currently Lewis Hamilton at risk here, as well as Pierre Gasly. I'll tell you what, Lewis Hamilton needs to get a decent lap time in here. He's only a 10th down in the first middle sector. He's not going particularly quick here, Hamilton, as he's only gone 9th, but it's going to be good enough for him. Charles Leclerc comes across the line and he sets a 5th fastest time there. As well, currently Gasly is in the bottom. Yuki Tsunoda here is waiting on Liam Lawson. He's the last driver. He's currently at the bottom. Can he push his former teammate out? He can, and Liam Lawson moves into 14th. We have lost Yuki Tsunoda there at the last attempt there from Liam Lawson, the last driver to cross the start-finish line. Pierre Gasly in 17th, Esteban Ocon in 18th, Nico Hülkenberg in 19th, which means he's definitely going to be on the podium tomorrow. And Alex Albon qualifies in 20th. A shocker, an absolute shocker for Alex Albon there. Max Verstappen gets through by a couple of attempts over Yuki Tsunoda. Colapinto gets through and out-qualifies Gasly for the first time in quite some time there. Liam Lawson into 14th. Antonelli gets through. It's very tight, but at the top, guys, Piastri is only first by 0.07 of a second. That alert that you've just heard there is when I receive a sub. I will turn that off just for the time being. But yes, thank you guys who are subscribing right now, and yes, everyone who is obviously gifted subs as gifted members as well. Thank you, much appreciated. So that is Q1 over and done with at this moment in time. Tsunoda gone, Gasly gone, Ocon gone, Hülkenberg gone, and Alex Albon as well. Shocker for the Williams of Alex Albon. Carlos Sainz up there in P8. I wonder if Albon had a moment. I wonder if he had a moment, because that's quite a significant gap between him and his teammates, 6 tenths. So, yeah, that's what I think has maybe happened. But no big moments thus far. But Verstappen, can he get through into Q3? We will see. It could be a tall order for him, but the track, of course, is going to be a little bit more easier in relation to managing traffic. And, well, is there rain in the air as well? We'll keep an eye out on that. So, Alonso for pole. I know. Fernando Alonso, P2. Well, we do expect that the lap times will get better. We do expect the lap times to get better. What was I doing here? I was checking something, wasn't I? There we go. I want to turn the alerts off just for now. So, Alonso on pole. Imagine. After missing out on FP1 as well. I know that that's Alex Van Geen's worst nightmare as he's watching poolside right now if Fernando Alonso gets pole. 3 very young drivers at the top on top. But great lap from Hadjar. So yes, Piastri set the fastest lap there with a 1:15.2. Now, bearing in mind that was pole position of last year, we're going to see laps get quicker and quicker, especially as there's more free air out on track. Start of Q2 will be delayed. That's intriguing. Why is it being delayed? Is there potential gravel and dirt on the track there through turn 12? That might be the case. It's quite a short runoff on the exit through turn 12, so maybe that's what's occurred there. So, any reason Mert didn't go for a second try? Save a set of tyres, probably. Yeah, the reason you don't go for a second try is to ensure that you've got at least 2 brand new, you've got an extra set of fresh tyres available to you, whether that's to use in Q2 or whether to use in Q3. So you normally see drivers in the first run in Q2 use a used set of tyres. That's obviously what you'll see here with the indicator. So if they come out in Q2 and there's already a number other than 0 against their name, against that tyre, it means that they're on a used set of tyres. And then they go for their second run when generally the track is quicker. They will have a new set on. But the track temperature is falling, guys. It's 41.4 degrees. So that's why we saw, obviously, a massive improvement there. Track evolution, very key here as well at Hungaroring, as it always has been. So, Why will Kimi and that be investigated? They'll only be investigated for the maximum delta time, so it's to stop cars going too slowly. More often than not, no one's ever been penalised for it. It's just to ensure that drivers don't go significantly slow so that they're backing up the traffic, where we had pretty big debacles at certain circuits before, the likes of Singapore, the likes of Mexico City, where things can be very dangerous. So that was introduced to stop that from happening. Wow, that is a great stat, by the way, from Isaac Hadjar. He's the only driver on the grid to never have been knocked out in Q1. Wow, that is some stat for Isaac Hadjar. I know he's only been in F1 for this season, but still, he's never been knocked out in Q1. That is tremendous stat from him, more than halfway through this season. Why the yellow flag? I imagine there is either debris or there's dirt and gravel on the track right now through that section, which they're trying to sweep away to ensure that the track is clear. And then they will get back underway. 16:27 is when the local time is when the track is the session's going to get back underway. So you're talking just over 2 minutes, until we have green light for Q2. The Red Bull is on a tractor. It's the second fastest car. I agree at certain circuits. However, it is definitely not the second fastest car here this weekend. That is for sure. It's Max's rag that is on track that they're having to clear away. So lots of cloud cover coming over the circuit at the moment. So debris on track. Was it Gasly? I don't know, to be fair. They haven't shown it. But session restart is around 2 minutes now. Not long to go. I've had white hot chocolate. I have. It's disgusting. Rain tomorrow. We'll have a look at the weather report afterwards, Peter. We'll have a look. Last I checked, which was yesterday, it did say that there was going to be rain in the lead up to the race, not necessarily on it. Now, they're showing the weather radar at the moment on the TV coverage, and it does look like there's going to be rain heading potentially over the start-finish straight. Not a lot of it, potentially a drizzle. So they're showing the TV coverage right now of like in the distance, and you can physically see the rain drop falling in the distance over the hills. So that could be hitting, but I don't think it's going to play too much of a factor here. Where the Team Biscuits at? I didn't get any. So, how's Red Bull the second fastest car at any circuit? Merc has been better almost everywhere, and sometimes Ferrari too. Have you missed the races that Verstappen won this year and where he's got on pole position? I mean, he's got as many pole positions as Lando Norris, or more than that, as Oscar Piastri, until last weekend. So, I mean, that car has definitely been the second fastest car at most circuits, at least in the first quarter of the season. So, have I missed the races where his teammates were nowhere on those races either? What, Max Verstappen? I would suggest that the Ferrari is a faster car than the RB, but Max is simply an exceptional driver. So right, what it is that the Red Bull has a very small operating window. That's it. So it is a quick car, but it has to be in a very small window. And Max is the only driver in that Red Bull team, obviously, who's been able to extract that. So in other people's hands, it's most definitely not the second fastest car. But in his hands, where he's able to extract that pace, it is the second fastest. It has, not is, but it has been the second fastest car at certain circuits. Where, of course, the surface as well has had to benefit it, primarily at circuits where there's no tyre degradation, the likes of Saudi and Suzuka is where that car has thrived. But at circuits where tyre degradation has been a factor, the Red Bull has significantly struggled. Hence, what we're seeing here right now. It's just struggling to keep its tyres in check, and it's just clearly not liking going around corners here. So, but anywho, enough of that chat, shall we? let's head into Q2 as Antonelli is out there at the moment. George Russell following suit. And, well, Alonso is on a brand new set of boots, as is Ollie Bearman as well, as is Lawson. Russell and Antonelli on a set of used tyres, as we mentioned. So you can see there the 3 next to that tyre in that first column indicates that they are on used tyres. You can also see there that there's like a line through the brackets, the circular brackets surrounding the S there. That indicates that they're on a set of used tyres. But the number is primarily the key indicator there. We have Hadjar on a brand new set as well. Yep, so drivers wanting to make use of these brand new sets and ensure that they can get through into Q3 because there's an opportunity of some good points on course for them here this weekend. When we're going to see a Kick Sauber pole, when they're not Kick Sauber anymore. Probably in an alternate reality where they're not, or next year maybe when they're Audi in the set of the new regulations. But anyway, Kimi Antonelli, let's stay on board with him, shall we? Of course, a track that he has had success in junior formulas here. He won his first feature race in F2 here last year in tremendous fashion. And, well, he is looking for a bit of a bounce back off of the back of a very poor performance in Spa. So let's see how he fares. He's into Q2 for sure. Can he make it into Q3 and score some points here this weekend? Making his way through Sector 1 at the moment into Turn 2. They have reverted to that old spec rear suspension, and it has seemed to have, it's at least improved the car a little bit somewhat. Maybe not dramatically compared to their competitors, but it does seem to be a bit more a bit more comfortable for the drivers, as Anthony does a 27.8 in the first set to George Russell a 27.793. So not much to split the two Mercedes drivers. Let's see how they fare in the middle sector. George Russell, though, it does seem like he has picked up the pace in the middle sector compared to what we have seen in practice thus far, as Stroll goes quickest in the first sector again. The Aston Martin likes it here, ladies and gentlemen, a 27.639. But guess who's gone quicker? His teammate Fernando Alonso, a 27.581. Remember, the Mercedes drivers, when they cross the start-finish line, their time might not be the quickest because they're on a set of used compound tyres. Everyone at the moment... the Ferraris are on used tyres as well. Max Verstappen is on a set of used, and it's a 1:16.3 for Kimi Antonelli as he crosses the line. George Russell goes quicker with a 1:16 flat ahead of his teammate, 3 tenths quicker. Lance Stroll, though, is going to go quicker than that, but not as quick as his teammate, has the purple first and second sector. Lance Stroll crosses the line with a 1:15.6, nearly 4 tenths, just under 4 tenths quicker than that of George Russell, but Fernando Alonso, he was second quickest in Q1. Can he follow it up here in Q2? He can thus far with a 1:15.395. He's only around a tenth and a half slower than what he was in Q1 in that first attempt. Lando Norris starting his lap now, as many drivers are on their laps. We'll keep an eye on the sector times. Ollie Bearman moves into P3 and goes ahead of the 2 Mercedes who are on used compound tyres. Bearman on a new set there, 6 tenths slower than that of Fernando Alonso. Bortoletto 9 tenths slower than that of Alonso, but on a used set of tyres as well. Lewis Hamilton starting his lap on a used set. Let's see how Oscar Piastri is going through. So Lando Norris finally hooks up the first sector, by the way, at 27.443. That is the fastest first sector we have seen in qualifying thus far, as Hadjar moves up into P3. He's nearly 4 tenths back of Fernando Alonso. So a good first sector finally for Lando Norris. Let's see who else is going across the line now. It's Colapinto who goes 9th. Not a good lap there from Colapinto. A significant error from him somewhere. Track limits at turn 9 noted. So yes, Colapinto had an off there as Norris goes fastest in the middle sector as well. The quickest middle sector we have seen from anyone thus far, as Piastri does a 27.5 in that first sector. Not able to match his teammate. Liam Lawson moved himself up into 7th, and Verstappen only 6th at the moment on a used set of tyres. So not even quicker than that of Bearman in P5 on who was on new sets of tyres. As Norris does a 14.890 from him. The first sub 115 we have seen in this qualifying session at the moment. But Piastri has gone a couple of hundredths quicker than his teammate in the middle sector, but he's a little bit behind him in the first sector. So nearly level playing between the 2 McLarens on this lap. But of course, it's all about Q3 for the 2 McLarens, as Hamilton only goes P9. Has an error there from Hamilton somewhere, as he has only gone up into P9. He's 1.3 seconds off the pace, as Piastri does indeed set the fastest last sector after a bit of a subpar first sector, and he is 0.05 of a second, half a tenth back of Lando Norris. The two Ferraris, well, two Ferraris on a used set of tyres, 10th and 11th from them, so not got the grip on that second run on that set of tyres. You could see there Lewis Hamilton losing 0.2 in the last sector, and Leclerc losing 0.2 in the middle sector on their teammates. So yes, they'll be looking to improve on a brand new set of tyres. The used set was definitely not the way. So pressure on, really, for the two Ferrari drivers. But at the moment, after the end of that Q2 attempt, it is Lando Norris with a 1:14.890. Piastri is second with a 1:14.941. So half a tenth, as we mentioned there, between the two McLarens. And that's a bit more kind of normal service resumed, isn't it, to be honest with you? Where you see Fernando Alonso half a second behind the two McLarens there in P3. Lance Stroll is a further couple of tenths back from his teammate. But what is surprising there is that they've comfortably got the pace over the RB of Hadjar and Ollie Behrman. Russell, Verstappen, yet to set a lap time, of course, on a new set. They were both on used, as was the two Ferraris, as was Sainz, Bortoletto. So yeah, nearly half of the field here have set times on used tyres. So we haven't seen the full true pace of them in this Q2 session yet. Aston must have shorter wheelbase and more downforce as running well so far. Yeah, I mean, they didn't. This has always been a pretty strong track for Aston Martin, to be honest, throughout the years. So yeah, it is a circuit that they've always fared very well at, now you think about it. So I guess a Q3 performance from them isn't uncharacteristic of the team, but it is uncharacteristic of what they've shown us, I guess, for the majority of this season, and especially after the performance in Spa. But Hungaroring is a very different circuit, of course, to Spa, and requires different strengths in your car compared to at Spa. So will pole be an advantage? It's a long dash of turn one. It is, mister. Yes, because pole starts on the inside. So I think pole starts on the inside, doesn't it? So you get, maybe I'm wrong. Hang on a second. Let me just check the grid. Hungary F1 start. I can't remember if it starts on the inside or the outside. Hang on. As Leclerc is saying, please focus. One thing. Let's go out as soon as possible. Is it the inside or not? No, I think it's... No, it's not. It's the outside. Is it inside or outside? I can't remember. I can't remember. Pole should never be on the outside, otherwise, literally, what's the point? I can't remember if it's on the outside or not. But it is an advantage. It's always an advantage because you can... The great thing about the Hungaroring is that there's plenty of room on the outside. So even if someone tries to launch it on you on the inside, you can get throttle down, and then you've got the inside line down into turn two. So... yeah, it's pole position here, regardless if you're on the inside or outside, is still an advantage. You'd prefer it, I think, to be on the inside, I guess, here, because the inside car, as the racing rules are, the power is always on the inside. So, but I don't know, to be fair. We'll check that afterwards. We'll check it. P1 is outside line, P2 inside. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's fair enough. Quali highlight's going to go crazy, yeah. Right, here we go, guys. Let's go. So Lance Stroll out there, sole driver out there at the moment. He's currently in P4. He is now on a second fresh set of tyres. And, well, he wants a free track, which is what he's going to get. Sole car out there at the moment. Let's see how he fares, shall we? He previously did a 27.5 in the first sector. Let's see if he can improve here. Of course, green in the sector times, guys, is an improvement on the previous lap that they have set, best lap that they have set. Yellow means it's slower. Purple, of course, means it's fastest out of anyone. So he's making his way through turn 3 now. He'll be full throttle through here. You can see the kilometres an hour getting close to 300 kilometres an hour as he heads uphill into turn 4. And it is an improvement for him. Quicker than his teammate last time around, a 27.493. So an improvement there for Lance Stroll, who did a 1:15.6 last time around. He is currently nearly 8 tenths back from Lando Norris. They're looking for a strong performance here. Aston Martin, could they lock out the second row? What a coup that would be for the Aston Martin team. And some great publicity for them as well in the week where Aston Martin have announced that they are selling their shares in the team. So as he makes his way through turn 12, it is another green middle sector for Lance Stroll. That's currently only less than a tenth. He's less than a tenth slower They're behind the McLarens in the middle sector. Unbelievable pace from Stroll in this Aston Martin. I can't believe those words are leaving my mouth as he comes across the finish line and he does a 1:15.129. He's just over 2 tenths behind Lando Norris, and he's just stuck really more than 2.5 tenths over Fernando Alonso. A great lap time there from Lance Stroll. Let's see if he's going to be able to make it through into Q3. I do suspect that is going to be quite comfortable, to be honest with you. A 1:15.1. I don't see many drivers being able to beat that, at least for him to be knocked out of this session. But we will see if there is a significant track evolution here. The track temperature has just fallen below 40 degrees Celsius at this moment in time, so that will help with managing the tyre temperatures throughout the duration of a lap here at Hungaroring. It does take quite a pounding on your tyres, and they are screaming come the end through turn 13 and turn 14, where you can lose so much time. Those last couple of corners can really make or break your lap time here at this circuit. Ollie Behrman is going to be the next driver to cross the start-finish line and begin his lap. Can he make it into Q3 here? I think it's a bit of a tall order for Haas. We'll see how he fares. His teammate went out in Q1, and they haven't really looked like they've had the pace here this weekend. A bit of a strange performance from the Haas. We don't know which circuit, really, they're going to perform well at. We don't know which Haas is going to turn up, but we'll keep an eye on Ollie Behrman. Max Verstappen now just making his way out. We have just under 3 minutes remaining of this Q2 session as drivers are waiting at the end of the pit lane as Ollie Behrman makes his way through. So at the moment, in the drop zone, it is Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, Bortoleto, Antonelli, and Franco Colapinto. But we know there's going to be a dramatic change in the times here in the closing stages of this session. Lando Norris is out on a set of used tyres, as is Oscar Piastri. So they are saving those brand new sets for Q3, which no doubt they are going to make their way into. So, Behrman has gone quicker in that first sector. As we mentioned, green is quicker than their previous best lap. So, he did a 15.987 last time around. He's currently a second off of the pace of Lando Norris. I guess the question is, can he get ahead of Lance Stroll? Fernando Alonso is not coming out again, guys. Fernando Alonso is in the pit lane and he thinks he's comfortable. Aston Martin gambling a bit here, maybe, with their lap, thinking that there's not going to be enough of an improvement from those behind, and they want to save an extra set of softs so that he's got 2 attempts in Q3. Bold call by them. We'll see if it pays off. Leclerc, 27.489 in the first sector. Hamilton at 27.583 as Behrman comes across the start-finish line, and he does improve, but by only a couple of attempts, and he is in P5, 8 attempts back from Lando Norris. George Russell, he is coming around to start his lap, as will Max Verstappen as well as he is completing his outlap. Charles Leclerc, let's see how he fares. He's green in the middle sector, so it's going to be an improvement for him, but by how much? He's second fastest in the first sector. His middle sector isn't particularly great as he's changed to a bit more of a skinnier rear wing, and it's only P5 for Leclerc. He cannot beat Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll's time. So at the moment, that's a good call for Alonso to stay in the pit lane. How about Lewis Hamilton? He's improving, but by how much? Only P7. He's slower than Ollie Behrman. The two Ferraris, who have looked pretty good in in practice, are not done very well here. Ollie Behrman has just pushed Hamilton down into 8th, and I tell you what, Hamilton's at risk here of potentially going out in Q2. Can Isaac Hadjar push Hamilton down? George Russell's out there. There's lots of green sectors, but by how much are they improving as Hadjar does push Hamilton down? Hamilton at significant risk here. He's currently in P9. Hadjar's just moved up into P6 and P7. It looks like maybe a double Q3 performance for Hadjar and Lawson for the RBs again. Piastri's just gone quickest in the first sector as Antonelli pushes Hamilton down into P10. George Russell, he's coming around the last corner now, and he is improving. He's green in the first sector. He's green in the second. Is Lewis Hamilton out in this session? He is. Lewis Hamilton has out of Q2. He will not be making it through into Q3. Verstappen moves up into P8, and that, I think, is good for Verstappen unless there's improvements from Sainz, Bortoleto and Colapinto. We'll see by how much as Bortoleto moves into P10 and pushes Antonelli out. We've got Hamilton, Behrman and Antonelli confirmed out of Q2. They will not be making it into Q3. And, well, Colapinto, he is improving, as is Carlos Sainz. Can Carlos Sainz make his way into Q3? It's a bit of a slow middle sector for him, at 26.8, as it is for a middle sector for Colapinto as well. Let's see how he fares. Can he move himself up and put some hurt on Hamilton. He can't. Colapinto is in 14th for now. Let's see how Carlos Sainz fares as he comes around the last corner. The last driver to cross the start-finish line here in Q2, and he only goes 14th. And well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Kimi Antonelli, Ollie Behrman, Lewis Hamilton, record race winner here at the Hungaroring, 13th, Carlos Sainz 14th, and Colapinto 15th. Those are the 5 that have dropped out of this Q2 session and will not be making it through into Q3. And well, who will be making it into Q3? Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, unsurprisingly. Lance Stroll, yes, Lance Stroll, you heard that correctly, who is currently in P3. George Russell in 4th, Alonso 5th, Charles Leclerc in 6th, Hadjar and Lawson in 7th and 9th. In the middle between them is Max Verstappen, digging deep there to get himself through once again into Q3. And Gabriel Bortoleto, another Q3 performance from Gabriel Bortoleto, who has been doing very well recently in that Stake F1 car, as Antonelli has had his lap time deleted there for track limits at turn 14. Turn 14, track limits for Kimi Antonelli. Not entirely sure where he went track limits there, but track limits for Antonelli means he's 15th, and that moves Hamilton up into 12th, but it's not the drivers that he needs to get up into Q3. A shame there for Lewis Hamilton. Not sure what's going on. Not sure what's going on there for Lewis Hamilton. A real shame. But yes, you heard that correctly. But Aston Martin, what the hell is going on with Aston Martin? Wow. Wow. Should we do another poll? I think we need to do another poll. We need to do another poll. As Antonelli did say before he even came into the pit lane, we're going to be out. I had no rear. So just watching Lewis Hamilton's on board of exactly what occurred. No, it's Charles Leclerc. What happened to him? Oh my God, Charles Leclerc had a big moment through turn 4, through the kink there. Very fortunate to keep control of the car. That could have been very, oh my goodness. Big swapper on the rear there for Charles Leclerc as he came off the curb. So, yeah, drivers pushing to the limit there. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go 6 to 8 and then 9 to 10. There we go. Where do you think Stroll's going to qualify? Where will Stroll qualify? Is he going to qualify in the top 3? Let's be honest. We know the McLarens are going to be 1 and 2 unless something dramatic happens with them. Is he going to qualify top 3? Will it be top 5? Or will it be 7th to 8th or 9th to 10th? Top 3. Imagine Lance Stroll qualified 3rd. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ferrari just always seem to send them out on the edge. It's so annoying to see keep sending them out so late. So even if they don't do good on that first lap, they can't go again. It's so annoying. That was what Charles said, didn't he? He said, well, I don't want to be waiting around. He said, I want to just get out there. Need to watch it back, to be honest with you. I can't remember exactly where they positioned Lewis. Let's have a quick look on my stream. Where did he go? I mean, yeah, he's... I don't know. I need to watch it back. I don't know exactly what's occurred there, to be honest, with Lewis Hamilton. So, the poll not showing up. It should be showing up. Maybe just refresh your stream. So, Stroll heard me. Yes, I know. You just realised, Taco, why is Lewis out? I don't know. That's the age-old question. Dylan, you called it yesterday. Lawson Q3. Let's go, New Zealand. Yeah, Lawson, another Q3 performance for him. Looks like he's just not on the pace of his teammate here this weekend. However, it's another confidence booster for him. This would be, I think, it's the 3rd out of 4th race he would have qualified in the top 10, and of course, it's potentially the 3rd race out of 4 in the last 4 races where he can score points as well. So yeah, definitely good for him. A Stroll poll, yeah. The poll should be up. It should be. I mean, there's over 500 votes in the poll right now. Guys, if you can hit that like button, it'd be much appreciated. If you can get the stream to over 1,000 likes with nearly 5,000 of you in here, it'd be much appreciated. Of course, we have one more qualifying session to go. Q3 will get underway in under 3 minutes time, just over 2 minutes time. Q3 will get back underway. If you're just tuning in, we have lost Ollie Behrman, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, Colapinto, and Kimi Antonelli in Q2 there. Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hulkenberg, and Alex Albon were the drivers unable to make it out of Q1. So, yes, who's going to qualify on pole? It's very close between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. It's pretty much a toss-up of the coin of who is going to be qualifying on pole position. As I'm watching Lewis Hamilton now to see exactly what occurred with him. And big moment for Lewis through turn 14 and through the last corner. He had a lot of rear instability through turn 13 and through turn 14. So, yeah, lack of grip for Lewis in the last couple of corners has cost him a considerable amount of time with the amount of corrections he had to make there. So, yeah, not good for Ferrari. Not good for Ferrari, so... maybe Newey has dug out his secret chest to surprise us. Aston maybe bluffing that they say Newey is focusing on the 2026 car. Anything for specific happened to Albon stuff here? I don't know, to be honest with you. I presume there was a mistake. I haven't seen it yet, though. Haven't seen it. Aston domination will bore fans. Is the temperature changing making it more difficult? It's not making it more difficult. It's probably making it a bit easier, to be honest with you. Because I would say that you're going to have more instability with your tyres come the end of a lap at Hungary, the hotter it is. And it's cooled around 10 degrees, 8 degrees since we started qualifying earlier on. So just hope Lewis has a good race set up. Yeah, it's no good, though, starting from 12th, is it? Visa Cash App to finish above Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. Actually, that's a fair point. Do we have the... Oh, we don't have the Championship predictions available to us, unfortunately. I'd like to see the hypotheticals of if they finish where they qualify, what that would look like in the Championship. But we can't see that yet. We'll have to have a look at that tomorrow, so... What is Missed Apex, Arkash? Oh, you are in for a treat if you have never listened to the Missed Apex podcast. It's a podcast all about F1. We do content throughout the season. Race reviews, race previews, race reviews, interviews with journalists who have been in F1 for years. We speak to team principals. It's a brilliant show, and I highly recommend that you listen to it. I'm a panelist on it and a sub-host. I've been on it for a few years now. I love it. We do live shows as well, and I highly recommend that you listen to it. And if you want another F1 community to keep yourself going, a very active F1 community outside of just my own, I highly recommend joining their Patreon as well. So... Is it free? It's free to listen to. It is indeed. Yes, you can go and subscribe to their channel. The link for them is in the description below. And it's also with the Nightbots as well. The link will be there. But you can listen to them on Spotify. It's a podcast in the day. So the best platform really to listen to them on is on Spotify. But we do stream the race reviews and pretty much stream the podcast live on YouTube. So, but anywho... There we go. So, yes, guys, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Nearly 1,000 likes. Thank you. Much appreciated. And, well, we're over 52,500 subscribers now. Big, big thank you. Let's see. We're getting us closer to 55,000. So, right. Lance Stroll in the ascendancy. He's out on a used set of tyres, though, unfortunately, here. So, he doesn't have two brand new sets available to him. However, Fernando Alonso is on a brand new set of tyres. And, well, we knew that he didn't do a second attempt in Q2 for this very reason. So, that he would have two brand new sets available to him in Q3. So we'll see how Alonso fares. Liam Lawson out there on a used set, as is Charles Leclerc, Bortoletto, Hadjar. Hadjar's not out there yet, and Max Verstappen probably on a used set as well. But the two McLarens, we know it's going to be close between them. There's been very, very little lesson attempt separating them throughout the majority of this weekend when it comes to their fastest laps, and I suspect it's going to be the same here again. But let's stay on board. with Lance Stroll, shall we? As he makes his way down into turn 1. Lance Stroll, where can he qualify at the moment? I'm going to end the poll, nearly 1,000 votes. Where will Stroll qualify? 44% of you think top 5. Some of you do think he's going to finish in the top 3. Bit of a spread vote there, but you have confidence in Stroll, who is making his way through turn 2, through the kink of turn 3, and up to the first sector line as he makes his way through the kink of turn 4, and it's a 27.862 for him in that first sector, and well, that's a bit off the pace of what we have seen from him in that first sector. His fastest here this weekend is a 27.493, so not his best. Let's see if he can recover it though in the middle sector, as Fernando Alonso does a 27.662. That's also not the fastest we have seen from Alonso itself as well. Has the track potentially slowed as Lando Norris starts his lap as he makes his way down into turn 1. Of course, this first lap could be very, very important. We have seen the first run in Q3 secure pole position in the past few races. Piastri also makes his way down into the first corner as well, as they are following each other there, but not too closely to benefit from 8-0. Alonso does the fastest middle sector at 26.925. Lance Stroll at 27.0 from him. It's not a particularly a good middle sector for both of the Aston Martins, as Lance Stroll does a 16.6 on a used set of tyres, so that's to be expected, but we do expect Alonso to go quicker than his teammate. But how much quicker will he go? It's 6 tenths quicker. That new tyre coming into its own in the last sector, but 116 is not really that good right now. What is the level of grip out there as Lawson actually goes ahead of Lance Stroll on a set of used tyres, as Norris has gone purple in the first sector. He's gone purple in the second sector. Can Piastri respond? He's currently a couple of hundredths behind his teammate in the first sector, as George Russell has gone even quicker than both the McLarens in the first sector, but Piastri responds with a slightly quicker middle sector. Who is going to be quickest here as Lance Stroll gets his lap time deleted for track limits, and Norris does a 1:15.494, so this track is considerably slower than it was earlier for some reason. But how about Oscar Piastri? He's coming around the last corner. Can he get provisional pole? He can, by 900ths of a second, a 1:15.398 compared to his teammates' 1:15.494. Fernando Alonso is currently third, but George Russell is fastest in the first sector. He's fastest in the second sector. He snatched pole position here in times gone past only a couple of years ago. Can he do it again here today from absolutely nowhere? No! He's ballsed it up in the last sector at 21.6. He was on course for a provisional pole there, George Russell. I thought we were going to see some magic from the Mercedes driver, as we have done in the past, but maybe pushing a bit too soon in the first and second sector as Verstappen goes into P5 on a used set of tyres, nearly 8 tenths slower than that of Oscar Piastri. Maybe his tyres just were screaming too much at the end, as Isaac Hadjar has not done another lap. So Isaac Hadjar only waiting for one attempt here on a brand new set of tyres. But at the moment, it is Oscar Piastri in first place, a 1:15.398. That is a good 2 tenths off a pole position of last year. So the track temperature cooling quite a bit. I thought it actually would provide maybe quicker lap times for the drivers out there, but it seems to have done the opposite effect. Maybe the wind as well is not helping. The wind is up to 10.4 kilometers an hour, flirting around that range at the moment. But Piastri, a 1:15.398, and well, it was really that last sector, it seems, he was able to claw, well, the middle sector in particular, he was able to claw back time and get level pegging with his teammate, but the last sector, he seemed to have just a bit more tyres available to him than Lando, and yes, that's currently got him in P1, 900ths of a second, just under a second really, from his teammate in P2. George Russell is third, Alonso is fourth, Verstappen 5th, Leclerc 6th, Lawson 7th, Bortoletto 8th. Lance Stroll had his lap time deleted for track limits violation. That was on a lap. So where did it go? He had track limits through turn 11 is what through turn 9 is what I just witnessed there. As George Russell, what did he do in the last corner? Where did he lose the time? Oh no, George Russell lost all that time in the last corner. He had mid-corner oversteer through turn 14, the last corner, and he might have got provisional pole there. Big F for George. All in the last corner. He lost that important 2 tenths there. Well, I'll tell you what, that was absolutely a stonker of a lap for George Russell. Let's see if he can repeat it, eh? And can he even maybe split the McLarens for tomorrow. He's definitely on course for it. So let's see how he fares. Lance Stroll out there, though, now on a brand new set of tyres, as is Fernando Alonso. But Alonso didn't necessarily hit the ground running there. 6 tenths back from Piastri. You'd expect them to be closer as it currently stands, as Verstappen will absolutely take a P5. As Russell said, that was all over the place, very gusty. So it is the wind, potentially, that has caused the lap times to slow here in Q3. So George Russell, he didn't particularly say it was the last corner that he suffered that gust of wind, but just in general that it is a bit gusty out there at the moment. You can see the wind the wind speed at the moment is 8.3. It's just jumped up to 11.2. So yes, it is quite gusty out there at the moment. Maybe that's an indication of rain on the way here. But I do not think it's going to fall in time for the remainder of this session with only 4 minutes remaining. So Lance Stroll, let's see what he can do. I have closed the poll for Lance Stroll. That's why the poll is not there for Lance Stroll. You guys think he's going to get into the top 5. A lot of you did think top 3 as well. Let's see what he can do. He's got a clean track ahead of him. Lance Stroll, he gets a fair amount of flack. And, well, can he put the doubters to bed here when the Aston Martin finally looks good? He makes his way through turn 2. Pressure on for Stroll, who has had his first lap time deleted for track limits on a used set of tyres. So he doesn't have one on the board at the moment. As Verstappen is saying, it's like driving on ice at the moment in that Red Bull car, as he currently finds himself in P5. Not happy with that Red Bull all weekend, but P5 would still be a good qualifying result for him, as we've seen him dig deep so many times before. A 27.577 for Stroll in that first sector. That's much better than previous time around. Not his quickest we've seen today, but we know the track is not particularly quicker at this moment in time. As Alonso's just gone fastest out of anyone in this Q3 run, in sector 1 there with a 27.533. Stroll improves in the middle sector at 26.629, understandably because he hasn't set a lap time yet, but I'm not sure that's going to be good enough for a top 3. We will see as his teammate is going quicker. Alonso about to cross the second sector line. Stroll makes his way around the last corner though. He comes across the line and he goes P3 at the moment, only 100th of a second behind Oscar Piastri, a fastest last sector thus far. The middle sector from Alonso is matching his teammate. Alonso could be improving here and splitting the McLarens as it currently stands, but if this is an indication of the track improving, you do expect the McLarens will do so as well as they leave the pit lane. Alonso across the line and he does split the McLarens. It's a 15.481, 0.083 for Fernando Alonso, and well, that is a clear indication to me that this track has just ramped up. It has got quicker, and I do expect that Fernando Alonso will not stay P2, but there is pressure on for Lando Norris in particular to ensure that he can at least start on the front row, as he is currently just under a second behind his teammate. But Fernando Alonso there, a 1:15.481. George Russell, he'll be looking at that lap time as well and be notified that this track has slightly improved. Track temperature still falling, a 36.1 degrees at this moment in time, as Charles Leclerc is making his way around the last corner now to start his lap, as George Russell is currently on his out lap as it currently stands. So we'll stay on board who is on their actual lap at the moment. So it is actually Charles Leclerc who has crossed the line next after the 2 Aston Martins. So let's stay on board with the Aston Martins, who will keep, of course, a close eye on the McLarens, on Charles Leclerc. Let's keep a close eye on Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, because that is truly, really where this battle for pole position is for the Hungaroring tomorrow. A long run down into turn 1, of course. Starting on pole here is not the be all and end all, but of course we have seen so often that the driver who leads into turn 1 so often wins the race this season, particularly between the 2 McLarens, as Charles Leclerc does a 27.541 in the first sector. That's not too shabby. It's not the quickest, but it's not too shabby by any means. As Alonso on the radio says, it was a good lap. It was a good lap, as he's currently in P2. Lando Norris makes his way through turn 2. We'll see what his first sector time is. He did a 27.443 last time around. It was purple, as Leclerc's gone quickest out of anyone in the middle sector. He's gone purple in the middle sector, has Charles Leclerc. And, well, that's a bit of a shock, Charles, who has been struggling in that middle sector in this qualifying today. Lando Norris does a 27.677. He's slow in that middle sector, first sector, as is Oscar Piastri as well. They're not improving as it currently stands to 2 McLarens, as Charles is on provisional pole, a 1:15.372. So pressure on the two McLarens, who are not improving at this moment in time. It's a green middle sector for Lando Norris, but the pressure is on. Let's see how Elagto does. He's currently in P10. He moves up into P7, pushes Verstappen down, who has started his last lap. Will be the last driver to cross the line. Lando Norris, though, the pressure is on. Can he take pole position away from Charles Leclerc, who is currently ahead of both McLarens, as a checkered flag has been thrown, and Norris doesn't. He's only P3 with a purple last sector. It's all eyes on Piastri. He's slower in the first sector. He's slower in the second sector. Oh my God, it's pole for Ferrari and Charles Leclerc. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's not over yet though, as George Russell is still out there. Liam Lawson qualifies ahead of Isaac Hadjar. Max is still out there as well. Could there be something magical from Max, what we have seen so many times before in a Red Bull that he's been struggling with? Verstappen, green in the first sector, but he's not particularly quick. George Russell, he's green in the middle sector. He's a bit slower in the first. We have seen George Russell qualify in pole position here before without a purple sector. Could it be a repeat? Let's see. Can he split the McLarens? No. P4, only the top four are separated by 0.05 of a second. Half a tenth separating the top four is ridiculous. Max Verstappen goes P8, and that is it for qualifying. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Charles Leclerc is on pole position. P1 of 15.372, 0.02 of a second ahead of Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris is third, 0.04 of a second behind. George Russell is 0.05 of a second behind. It is utterly ridiculous, the intervals here between the drivers. That is utterly ridiculous, but the top four are separated by... The top five are separated by 1/10. The top six are separated by 0.126. Oh my goodness, what an unbelievable... One gust of wind could have got any driver a pole. Why didn't I wear the... That's exactly why I didn't wear the Ferrari shirt, ladies and gentlemen, because I didn't want to jinx Charles Leclerc. That is a ridiculous performance from Charles Leclerc there, who will start on pole position tomorrow ahead of the McLarens. And, well, that is definitely going to spice this Hungarian Grand Prix race up tomorrow. Let's have a run through of your provisional grid for the Hungarian GP tomorrow. It is Charles Leclerc. Yes, you heard that correctly. Charles Leclerc on pole position with a 1:15.372. Oscar Piastri starts second place, as he did last year, and won the race from second place. 0.02 of a second, 0.026 behind Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris in third place, 0.041 behind Charles Leclerc. He's 0.02 of a second behind his teammate, starts in third place. He'll be starting on the racing line tomorrow, so interesting circumstances tomorrow. We see George Russell starting fourth tomorrow. A brilliant qualifying from him. Who would have thought he would have been able to get that car as close as he did to the two McLarens? Fernando Alonso in P5, a 10th back from pole position, is absolutely unreal. Less than a 10th behind the two McLarens. Lance Stroll in P6, similarly, a brilliant performance from them, locking out the third row. Bortoletto starts 7th tomorrow, lining up alongside his very good friend and sim racing teammate Max Verstappen in 8th, 3.5 tenths behind Charles Leclerc. Lawson and Hadjar in the RB cars, a good Q3 from them in P9 and P10. Good chance for them scoring points tomorrow. Behrman was out in Q2 in P11. Lewis Hamilton looking at that there, looking at his teammate on the pole position for tomorrow, was out in P12. Carlos Sainz is 13th, Colapinto is 14th, Antonelli is 15th. He had his lap time deleted for track limits, unfortunately, in that Q2 session. Sonoda in 16th, Gasly is 17th, Ocon is 18th, Nico Hulkenberg is 19th, and Alex Albon is 20th. I am in shock, ladies and gentlemen. I am in shock that the top four are separated by less than a tenth. Less than, well, half a tenth, basically. And Charles Leclerc, of all people, is on pole position. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Cecil, your dad, who is watching, just texted you saying, not since Pong have people been so excited about moving dots. We try. Wow. I mean, I think my voice broke Yeah, I think my voice got a bit high and peaked when I said Charles Leclerc was on pole position because I was in that much shock. I was in that much shock, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god! Should I wear the? I guess the question is, do I? Guys, do I wear the Ferrari shirt tomorrow? Do I get it out? Do I get the Ferrari shirt out? Do I wear the shirt tomorrow? You guys are too easy. You're all too easy. You're too easy to rile up. Gotcha. Some of you out there are saying yes, are definitely McLaren fans. That is crazy. Listen to the driver's interview. So, yes, it did. So, why is Charles on pole position? Of course, brilliance from the Ferrari driver. However, we saw lap times there slower, significantly slower than what we saw in Q2. Why is that? Well, that's clearly because the track got slower, primarily due to the wind conditions. The wind direction maybe played a factor. I'll have a look in a second at my... let's have a look. Hang on. So they reckon it's the cloud cover that played a factor. I'm looking at Q2. So Q2 is where we saw the fastest laps. And, the wind direction changed. Yeah, so from Q2 to Q3, the wind went from around... It was flirting from around 3 kilometers an hour to 7 kilometers an hour. And it was a southerly wind, and then it changed to a westerly wind. I don't know where that means, where it's coming from in relation to the track, but it's a westerly wind with higher wind speeds as well. So that's why the track was slower. And that's why we potentially saw what we just saw there. So, my face is whiter than the shirt. Jarvis, thank you for the gifted, by the way. Much appreciated. Unbelievable. My face is white. That's just the light that I've got on. I need to turn the saturation down. No, saturation up. So, yeah. Thank you for the gifted. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. What a qualifying. An unbelievable quality. Yeah, let's have a look at the sector times, shall we? Now, this is a bit different. So, if you're new here, guys, what is this? So, these obviously This isn't the fastest sector times for Q3, or this is the fastest sector times throughout the whole session. So that's why Piastri is shown as being fastest across the board, because he had the fastest sector time at least 1 point throughout each session. And to be honest, that pretty much came from the Q2 run. Q2, he did a 1:14.8. So the track slowed by nearly half a second in Q3 because of the wind direction. So, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, Augustus. Much appreciated. So, but when it says west means wind coming... it means coming from the west. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone can let me know. I don't know if the orientation of this track map is north. So, I don't know if this means that like a southerly wind here means that there was a tailwind down into turn 1. But a westerly wind, if anyone's done any sort of racing in real life or even on the simulator, a change in wind direction has a massive role to play when it comes to the pace of a lap and how a car is set up in particular. So your car may be set up for a certain wind direction and perform very well, and then if that switches completely, then your car can be completely unbalanced. And that's kind of what we saw here, really, is that we saw the Ferrari come into its own. Well, actually, no, really, what we saw, to be honest, we didn't really see the Ferrari come into its own or the Mercedes come into its own. What we saw, really, was that the McLarens kind of struggled. The McLarens came back to the rest of the field, really, because there's maybe an element of like the other drivers being able to improve it and the wind direction suited them a bit more than the McLarens, but we saw more so the McLarens come further back towards the field than we did the because of the wind direction change and the level of grip, because potentially of the track temperature falling a little bit as well. Maybe they weren't able to get their tyres in the right window. But yeah, that definitely played a factor. Turn 12 at the bottom, turn 6 at the top, according to the compass. So turn 12's at the bottom, turn 6 at the top. So it should be flipped, really. Okay. It depends. So let's have a look at the weather report for tomorrow, shall we? Let's see what I can get. Hungaroring weather. So it looks like tomorrow it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be raining up until 12 o'clock. And then the race is going to be dry. So I want it to be a dry race, to be perfectly honest with you. Wear an Aston Martin shirt. I don't have an Aston Martin shirt, so. Fair enough, Augustus. But to be honest, I'm not very religious, so it's just a phrase, just a term of phrase. So, appreciate everything else, though, buddy. I'm hoping we don't see any rain. I hope we don't see any rain either. If you rotate the track around 40 degrees anti-clockwise, that'll be the orientation. Okay. Well, even... Okay. Clockwise? So that way. Okay. Yeah, so that means that there's a tailwind. Tailwind going down into turn 1. Is that right? So there's more of a tailwind going into turn 1. So there's some crosswind in some certain corners. So... Would I be down to be an official commentator for a race? I'd give it a go. Yeah. If it was presented to me, why not? What have you got to lose? It's not something I'm actively seeking. I've said this before. But if someone gave me an opportunity, yeah, why not? Give it a go. Feels like they should just change the RB Cars livery to Red Bull. Yeah, I know Charles said he wasn't good at this track, but Charles has done quite good at this track before, to be fair. So, yeah, it's not completely uncharacteristic of Charles to get it up there in qualifying. But yeah, I mean, that's a very, very good lap for him, especially as he was running a more lower downforce rear wing compared to what he had been running through practice. And the wind direction here has massively helped him, and the conditions as well. So, but it was very, very telling that the McLarens both did not improve in that first sector. They were slower. So maybe it was a headwind into turn 1, into sector 1 at some point. So maybe not necessarily down the start-finish straight, but maybe. So yeah, if you turn it, what did you say? Sorry, did you say? Yep, tailwind into turn. It was tailwind into turn 1. So it's tailwind into turn 1. So you come down here, you're then into a headwind. You're then going into a crosswind. So yeah, maybe they just, you can easily get caught out by it as well. You can go deep into the corner by braking because you don't expect the tailwind. So interesting. Will he be able to win it tomorrow, though? I don't know. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? It's going to be a very interesting start to this race because there's an opportunity for Norris to get ahead of Piastri here, down not just into turn 1, but into turn 2. Because what will Leclerc do? So Norris needs to. So what does Norris need to do tomorrow? The easy answer, of course, is he needs to get ahead of Piastri. But what he particularly needs to do is Piastri is going to be starting on the inside line. Leclerc's on the outside, and Norris is on the outside as well. So he needs Leclerc to... He kind of arguably needs Leclerc to not get... Does he need Leclerc to get the best of starts? No, he does need Leclerc to get the best of starts. He arguably needs Leclerc to get a good start so that he can cover off Oscar Piastri. And then he needs to get a good enough start himself so that he can box Piastri in, to be honest, and swoop around the outside. That's pretty much what he needs to do. Charles covers Oscar. Lando can go outside to both of them. Exactly, Rafe. And that's pretty much what he'll be hoping for. So the only thing you'd lose being an official comment would be your voice, but the commentary would be great. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, Ian, isn't it? Is being able to give your opinion on things. So, but I guess I've said this before. Everyone has a price. I've got bills to pay. Lando's time in Q2 was fastest. Is it a lap record? Was it? Did he have Q2? Did he have the fastest Q2? So... my mic is... Did you not hear me say it earlier? It was at the end of the stream. It's a Rode Podmic. If Oscar gets ahead of Charles, Lando needs to do it also quickly. Otherwise, Piastri will move 3 to 4 seconds ahead and Lando... 100%. Yeah, I mean, Lando's best opportunity to get ahead of Oscar and to make this a race is, yeah, down into turn 1, as it always is. But if Charles is able to hold on to P1... I mean, I don't know what the tyre management of the Ferrari is like. That's the question. You could see a fighty race because Oscar's going to get held up by Charles, arguably. And Charles probably has... Let's have a look at the top speed, shall we? Because this is going to be key. This has always been key in the championship. So this is... Yeah, I'll tell you what. Ooh, okay. This can make things interesting tomorrow, guys. If Charles is able to hold on to P1. Charles is fastest in the speed traps. He's fastest in the speed traps. As you scroll down, look who's slowest in the speed trap. That's going to make things a bit difficult for Piastri to overtake tomorrow. He's going to have to try and do everything he can to get ahead of Leclerc into turn 1. Otherwise, he is going to be stuck behind Leclerc. And he's going to be susceptible to a battle behind Norris, with Norris. And that may benefit Leclerc to go on and potentially win this race, but it all depends obviously on the tyre management. So I appreciate Ian. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why that's what I'm glad gets across is my enthusiasm for the sport. So disappointed for the Racing Bulls. The second time his team has made one Q3 lap for Isaac. Yeah, I get it though. Look, that you can't gamble. Teams like RB and teams like the teams that aren't necessarily expected to get into Q3 every single time aren't going to really have an extra set of softs available. They're only ever going to have one valid attempt on a brand new set of softs because they want to ensure that they get into Q3. So they're going to use that extra set that they would do in Q3 in Q2. So I don't think there's too much criticism to be laid there. Now, it might have been Oscar's decision to not even go out there and do a banker lap on a used set. He might have just thought, no, it's not even worth it. What's the point? And it kind of turned out to be the correct decision. I don't know. Could they have beaten Bortoletto? Yes, probably. They could have qualified higher. Bit of a missed opportunity for them, but yeah, maybe he thought I'd rather save that set of soft tyres than kill an extra, put 3 more laps on them and save them maybe for the race tomorrow, then use them here where we're not maybe potentially going to gain much. So what is going on with Hamilton? Age. I think age is always a factor. Of course it is. You can't not look at age being a factor. But I think, as I said numerous times, these cars have never suited Lewis Hamilton's driving style. He has never got on with them. He's come to Ferrari where the car is not great. He struggled to get on top of it compared to Leclerc, who you expect to get on top of it considerably more than Hamilton. And yeah, I mean, I do expect Lewis to get into Q3. There are mistakes that he has made, driver errors for sure. I never really expected a Ferrari to even get anywhere near pole today. Could Lewis have got that? I don't know, probably not, to be honest. Leclerc has always had the pace on Lewis this weekend. But he has said numerous times as well, and he's been quite more vocal about it. This isn't his car. He didn't have an input in the development, etc., etc. And he's inherited, again, like another kind of poor car. 2026 is really where you can judge him a bit more. I say fairly, you can still criticise Lewis. I'm a fan of Lewis. You should criticise him where it's due. But I think there's valid reasons as to why he's been underperforming. But still, he should easily be able to get into Q3. A Q2 exit isn't good enough, really, regardless of age. So, and considering his teammates on pole, so makes it look even worse. Good to see you, Frozen. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. How do I think Aston will do tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know what their long run pace is, because they may be quick over a single lap, but then their long run pace might not be particularly good. Oh, they're interviewing Lance Stroll right now on Sky Sports. This is odd. There's a rift in the universe. Lance Stroll is being interviewed and he looks happy. There's a smile on his face while he's being interviewed by Sky Sports. We don't see this often. Fair play to him though. Fair play. What did you say? Let's go. An hour ago, you said Leclerc's going to be on pole because betting companies need to take the money from all those who place bets on McLaren. Oh, you love it. You love a conspiracy, don't you? You love a conspiracy. Lance is happy. Feel good for him. Yeah, he definitely deserves it. So, thanks for the commentary. Yeah, no worries, Jarvis. Can I show you? I cannot show you TV coverage, unfortunately, as it would be copyright infringement. So, yes, unfortunately, I cannot do that for you. Never underestimate an Incredible Hulk. He has scored all of his points this season while starting outside of the top 15. So, yes, he scored his podium from 19th, didn't he? So, podium position for Hulkenberg tomorrow. I bet even RPM is like, yeah, I'm ready to root for Stroll now too. No, what was that? What did someone say? No big Verstappen talk. The car's just not there, simple as. He's going to struggle tomorrow. He may make up some positions, but it's very telling that a Red Bull in Max's hands has been out-qualified. But okay, by the smallest of margins, by a stake F1, but comfortably by the Aston Martins. So very, very, bizarre weekend for Max Verstappen and that. Will it rain tomorrow? So it's going to rain in the morning, and it's not looking like it's going to rain. It's going to stop around 2 hours before the race starts, 3 hours before the race starts. So it should hopefully be a dry race tomorrow, which I want to see, to be honest with you. I don't want there to be rain because I think we're in for an interesting strategy race tomorrow. We're in for an interesting battle up front. And I'm intrigued to see how the strategies are going to play out. I've mentioned it before. We've seen numerous times at the Hungaroring where a one-stop has been utilised and a two-stop has been utilised. And then we see that convergence out on track with the two-stop chasing down the one-stop who's held on to track position. And I think we're going to see that tomorrow up front. And I think it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. So that 8th is never coming. Yeah, it's just time to accept reality. I don't expect him to win an 8th. No, I don't. I think a good end to Lewis's career would be just winning races with Ferrari. That's where it'd be good for Lewis to get back into a winning position in a car that he can win races in and win in the red. That'd be a great sign off to his career. So, no, I fully expect Lewis to score points tomorrow, 100%. But it's not a good qualifying for him, which is a shame. So. Never underestimate Russell at the start as well. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a juicy start, and it's a bit of a long run down into Turn 1 at the Hungaroring. We have seen incidents before. We saw 3 wide last year, didn't we? With Max Verstappen there and the 2 McLarens. So there's anything can happen down into Turn 1 tomorrow. There's a lot of different scenarios that can play out. And it's not just over and done with at Turn 1. This is the thing as well. There's also that run down into Turn 2. Where if you're on the outside, you're then on the inside for Turn 2, and then you're then on the outside for Turn 3. So really, like, there could be a side-by-side battle all the way to Turn 4, where obviously then someone has to relinquish a position because you don't go side-by-side through Turn 4. Do I think Lewis would have been better off staying at Mercedes? No. No, to be perfectly honest with you. Verstappen is a qualifying specialist. If he doesn't qualify well, he's unlikely to move forward much in the race. Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to finish Max's race tomorrow, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, is with Bortoletto in a stake and the Aston Martins. Now, I don't know what the race pace and the tyre management of the Aston Martins is like, but the Red Bull, we know, is not in a good shape at the moment. So, and that gap could have been, if it wasn't for the wind change direction, that gap by Max there could have been even more. We could have seen that gap be even more, and that qualifier maybe have been even worse for Max. But look, 8th is it's a terrible weekend for Max in that Red Bull. They don't know where they are with that car, and he probably is just looking forward to the end of the race tomorrow, so that he can go home early and start his summer break. We saw why we don't go side by side in F3 earlier. Oh, did they go side by side through there? That does not surprise me in the slightest. I didn't see it, but it does not surprise me in the slightest that they went through there into turn 4. So there's a Lewis interview coming up now, which I'm just about to listen to. So I'll keep you updated. Lewis reverted wings while Leclerc chose the same wing. Did he revert to wing? Did he? What, he changed to... hang on. I'm listening to not George Russell. I'm listening to Lewis Hamilton now to see exactly what he says. Hang on. Lewis says on the radio message, every time. And then Lewis answers, they asked him, what do you mean by every time? And he says, well, it's me every time. He says, my Saturdays are useless. Absolutely useless. As Lewis says, there's no... oh, dear. Oh, very harsh words on himself, Lewis Hamilton. They said, is there anything that you can change with the car to make it better? And he's like, no, they need to change the driver because there's nothing wrong with the car. It's on pole position. Oh, Lewis. Oh, Lewis. Very harsh on himself there. Very harsh. This is the end of the session. Yes, very end of the session. Very honest Lewis, yeah. Very down on himself at the moment there, but oof, definitely down in the dumps there, isn't he? After that qualifying, so... Bottas goes crazy and takes out 2 Red Bulls in the first turn. Now Russell will repeat the move, but on the McLarens. Oh, imagine that. But, yeah, poor performance from him. And it's going to hurt. The thing is, that's going to hurt him even more because he sees that the car's on pole. If Charles was like 8th or 7th, he'd still feel miffed, but he'd be like, okay, well, the car's not like capable of being on the front row. His teammates just stuck it on pole. So that just, you know, that makes it even much more worse. So for someone. Lewis lost his mojo after Max Abu Dhabi. He didn't lose his mojo. The problem is, where it stemmed from is that these regulations have not suited his style of driving, and he started on the back foot in these set of regulations with Mercedes. Mercedes got it so wrong, and Lewis is very much a confidence driver. If he feels confident in a car, he'll get a decent performance out of it. But he's never felt... I don't think he's had a car at any... He's had a couple of races in the last 4 years where the car has felt good underneath him and he's been able to get it on pole position, or he's been able to win races, you know, or get second. But out of the amount of races that he's done in this set of regulations, he has had a poor car. Overwhelmingly a poor car, the more times than he has had a good car underneath him. And yeah, Lewis is someone who's always worn his heart on his sleeve, and someone who's is a confidence driver. And I can't imagine the sort of feeling you'd have if, after obviously what happened at the end of Abu Dhabi, and you're not able to fight for a championship, or not even fight for race wins on the regular, and podiums. And yeah, it's been very much on the back foot for the last 4 years for him. So I imagine that's tough for any driver, to be honest. So yeah, it could be completely flipped on its head come 2026, where Ferrari get it absolutely right. I mean, they haven't got it absolutely right for quite some time, and then we see a different Lewis and a different Charles, and they're fighting out for a title or whatever, or at least race wins on more so on the regular than they are now. So yeah. He's got to adapt and improve. Yeah, no, I agree. But sometimes there comes to a point of where you try, and you just cannot get on with a car or a set of regulations the way that they're set up. He's joined F1 in 2007, when the cars were considerably lighter and smaller, narrower, and look at where they are now. And I just don't think these big heavy cars, where they're more slower, like they're very quick now. They're arguably the quickest in F1 history, but they're not obviously what he should be able to adapt more. I agree, but he is in cars that he just has never suited since he steps into Mercedes, obviously in 2022 for these cars. So The cars are absolutely terrible, yeah. I mean, you generally could, of course, it always depends on the car, but you generally could see some drivers who maybe aren't not necessarily highly rated completely love the new regulations and completely love the way that those cars drive. And we're like, oh my God, these guys, where is this from this guy previously? And we could completely see on the flip side, drivers that we rate quite highly, who have only ever known these big, bulky cars, to struggle with the slightly lighter and smaller cars of 2026 and the way that they're going to drive. So, yeah, that's the nature of kind of these regs. And these regs have been a dramatic change to obviously what of what we've seen from the past, obviously with the ground effects and so forth. The margin, 0.126 seconds difference between first and sixth. I know the top four separate by less than a second. That's crazy. Well, less than a tenth, sorry. Less than a second, less than a tenth. No matter how much Hamilton can hate, someone can hate, it's definitely sounding to see him like this. He deserves better. Hopefully wins at least one race this season. Might boost his motivation. Yeah, I mean, look, he still has motivation, but more so for 2026, I imagine. So, man, that's coping. The cars were heavy when he had a dominant Mercedes too. They were nowhere near as heavy as this, though. No, they were still very light and nimble, John. Smaller as well. Drove completely different compared to how they drive now today. It's not coping at all. They had to be driven more precise and smooth, more boat-like. You can't wrestle them around like the older cars. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I am far from a Hamilton. I've watched him since he was a kid. Love what he's done for the sport. Just think his time is close now. I don't disagree. I said that before. I said, like, look, he's 40 years old. The fact of it he's still going is tremendous. Same as Fernando Alonso. In times gone by, it wasn't too long ago where someone who's like 33, 34 was seen as should be retiring from the sport. Now, we're looking at Sergio Perez potentially coming back into the sport at 33. Valtteri Bottas at 35. Like, these guys, with the advancements of sports science and the drive that they have, obviously, if they're still there mentally and want it, they can still perform. So, against the young guns. But there's only a select few of them that can do that. But right now, IndyCar has better wheel-to-wheel racing. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, the way that the racing rules are currently laid out and the way that these cars are so big and bulky, it doesn't lend themselves to good racing. So we need to get back in that direction of much more smaller and nimbler cars. So hope he ends with dignity, you know, like a Vettel kind of exit. Yeah, I think he will. It's Ferrari and then that's it for Lewis. He's not moving anywhere else. So, and he still brings plenty of commercial side of it. So whatever you think about Lewis, he'll still bring plenty of money to Ferrari over the next few years. So I don't think he's going to be gone after the end of 2026. Unless something dramatically breaks down in their relationship, because they've spent a lot of money on him and he brings in a shed lot of cash as well. So that still obviously is very important to teams like Ferrari. So will I cover the Indy 500 next year? Maybe, Harley. Maybe. I'll look into it. Will new regs next year take us back towards smaller, lighter cars? Slightly, yes, slightly. Not a lot, but slightly. We're heading back in the right direction. Hopefully. So we're going to have an engine. We're going to have a reg change again, I think, in the end of for 2029. So yeah, this set of regs is only going to be for 3 years. I'm not blaming the car. I'm blaming Lewis Hamilton for his problems there. Any idea on the 2029 regs? All I know is that there's potentially going to be changes to the engines again, which is why Caddy are now joining as an engine supplier, bringing their own engine in 29, not 28, because it's been pushed back. And no doubt there'll probably be some changes to... I mean, 26 is such an unknown. I imagine there's going to be very quickly a lot of feedback on the regs and where they want to change them for the better. And it may even be, I don't think it'll be sooner than 3 years, but yeah, 2029, I imagine there could be some big changes again. So based upon the feedback that comes from 2026. So he made a mistake in Q2. He had zero grit and made multiple mistakes trying to correct them, which just made him lose more time. No one's blaming the car, so don't even push that motive. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I wonder how Sainz would have placed that Ferrari. He may have placed it higher. Just like look, they've moved team. He's moved teams. This is what I said earlier on, is that for Lewis Hamilton in particular, he most definitely was expecting to join Ferrari this year. And while he probably had, like high expectations, but also probably like lower expectations as well. But I imagine he would have been joining Ferrari and expecting them to be competitive this year. I think we all did, right? Even if you're a Charles Leclerc fan and not a Lewis Hamilton fan, didn't we all expect Ferrari? The white fluff on the chair. Oh yeah, it's Luna. It's my cat. I think we all expected Ferrari to be competitive with McLaren this year. I most certainly did. How they ended last year, I thought they'd kick on from it, and they would. It's not grey hairs, Alan. Do stop. You stop. You. No grey hairs yet. And they've ballsed up the development of their car for this year. They went in the wrong direction. I just don't get how they've got it so wrong this year, considering they were maybe not on the same level as McLaren, but they definitely were competitive and quicker at some race circuits at the end of last year than McLaren. And I was thinking, oh, brilliant. It's going to be a McLaren and Ferrari championship battle next year. Absolutely brilliant. This is before Lewis Hamilton joined. But yeah, they changed the concept, went to a push rod system from a pull rod system, which they haven't done in donkey's years. And they're like, yeah, don't know where they're going with their car. So Charles Leclerc has done tremendous work, and we always expected Charles to outperform Lewis. He's been at that team for a lot longer than Lewis. He's familiar with the mechanisms of how Ferrari work, the language, the environment, the engine, etc., gearbox. Lewis obviously has all of that to overcome. You do always expect him, a driver of his ability, to be able to adapt to that quicker. But I imagine if I was Lewis Hamilton, I'd be thinking, oh my God, I've just left Mercedes, and Ferrari were comfortably outperforming Mercedes last year, competing with McLaren, and we've got one more year left in these regs, and they've made a step backwards. Like, what is going on? What is absolutely going on with them? So, don't you scare me with spiders, guys. But yeah, in my opinion, Ferrari should have never even tried to change anything. Charles would have definitely been fighting for the championship this year, and Lewis would maybe in a better place. Yeah, exactly. I mean, their excuse from what I've seen from Ferrari is that they said we had to change concept because we believed we reached a ceiling with our performance and that we couldn't make the car better with the current concept. So we had to change our concept to try and stay with the advancement of McLaren. However, that's failed dramatically. So, do I think his move to Ferrari was too early? No, not at all. I think it's a good. I always said I think it's a good move, regardless of how Ferrari perform. But it's disappointing of obviously where they are for the majority of this season. Charles has done tremendous there. When you're moving to a new team, especially a team where there's a language barrier and so forth, it's good to get into how that team operates for a year, become accustomed to it, and also, as Lewis has said himself, have some input into the development of the new car in 2026, rather than inherit something that you've had no input on. So I think that's the case for any driver, and that's the case for like Kimi Antonelli as well. Like, people have said, yes, okay, it's too early to promote him, which is okay. I think that can be valid, but also, why would you keep him in F2 for a year when he can get into F1? There's not a lot of high expectations on him from the team. The media and everything is a bit different, but get him used to the F1 circus, get him used to how F1 operates. He's probably got some good performances underneath him, and he can even have some slight input into maybe the 2026 car, and then he's had a year of F1 under his belt for the new season in 26, rather than the pressure of this is his first season in F1, it's a brand new set of regulations. Probably going to be crapping himself even more in that scenario than he would be this season. So do I think Lewis might have settled a bit better if Bono came to Ferrari with him? No, I don't think so. I mean, the relationship would have helped, but I don't think Bono coming over, because Bono would still have to go through the same thing that Lewis is doing right now. Get accustomed to the environment, get accustomed to a new way of communicating, get accustomed to a new way of how their processes work. And that could be completely foreign that'd be completely foreign to Bono. And I think in the long run, maybe, but ultimately there's bigger things there for Lewis to get on top of rather than just Bono. So, what do I think Lewis Hamilton means by the August the 8th? Not a foggy. Probably nothing F1 related, to be honest with you. He's got so many off-track ventures. It's probably something to do with that. So, but there we go. That is it, guys, for this session. This session. That is it. There we go. Who's been better, Stroll or Lewis this year? Silly question. Silly question. Not even going to answer that, purists. Yeah, that's it, guys, for quali. That is it for quali. So, I'll tell you what. While I'm here, I'm going to set up the stream for tomorrow because I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that. Bear with me, because then I can send you guys all over there to the stream. We can send you to the stream. Just give me a second. I can redirect you to it. Always a fun stream, guys. Always. I love chatting with you guys. And it's okay to disagree with me. If you disagree with my comments, that's fine. Let me know. Let me know. I'll always give you a polite reason as to why I think you're wrong and I'm right. But yeah, it should be a good one tomorrow. Oh, what am I looking at here? Trying to get an Aston Martin photo so I can put it on my thumbnail. It's not often I'm looking for an Aston Martin car for a thumbnail. Honestly. Where's that gone? Bear with me, guys. Oh, dear, dear me. All right. Do I feel Lewis more confident with Ferrari in the wet than the dryers? No, to be honest with you. I think we've seen enough wet performances, I say wet races, wettish conditions, where I think we have seen Lewis have just as much struggle in the wet. Silverstone, of course, we always know that he's going to do very well there. So he was relatively okay in those conditions. But Australia, we saw him struggle. Where else would we have wettish conditions as well? Spa wasn't really that wet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so much. Do I think Lando can win tomorrow? Of course he can, just as much as Oscar Piastri can win. But he needs a good start, and he probably needs Oscar Piastri to not get ahead of Leclerc into turn one. And if Piastri does get ahead of Leclerc into turn one, then he needs to get past Leclerc within a lap, to be honest. Otherwise, he's going to struggle to catch up. By the time he does probably get past Leclerc, he's going to be too far behind his teammate who will have clean air. As we know that McLaren is super quick in clean air. But in dirty air, it's a different scenario. Like we saw the top speeds difference earlier on, and it's definitely going to play a factor tomorrow. It's going to make it difficult to overtake Charles Leclerc if they aren't able to get past him in the first couple of laps because, yeah, because they haven't got that top speed. Be careful with the way he bought Bortoletto. The way he beat Hulkenberg is super brilliant. For me, he's the best rookie of the season, even ahead of Antonelli and Hadjar with much of Fury car. I don't think he's done enough this season to be labelled the best rookie. But if he continues this for the rest of the season, he will definitely be the best rookie, I think. So he's definitely performing a lot better for sure. Hang on. So we'll be live tomorrow, guys, at 1 p.m. Of course, an hour before the race begins, as always, to have a look at the strategy options for tomorrow, which are always very influential here at the HUNGARIAN. So be sure to tune in for that. I can now add... Hang on, I can now add, I think... I can't do it. Why can't I do it? Hang on a second. George Russell was just saying that it was the wind direction that dramatically changed, which helped, which helped the session and massively influenced the session. He goes, I was actually a bit conservative with the wind direction with how I was handling the car. He goes, so I could have been. No, sorry, he should have been more conservative because he lost a bit of time in relation to it. So it was a bit too much. He needed to be more aggressive, was what he was saying. Piastri saying the same about the wind, but he was saying it hurt his pace. Oh no, it most definitely did. And you have to remember as well with the McLarens is that they always run more higher downforce than everyone else. Their advantage isn't in the straights, so if the wind direction changes, it can negatively impact them more than others because they're running more drag. As we saw from the speed traps with Piastri being the slowest out of everyone today, but he nearly got on pole position. So that's where the strength of the McLaren comes in, is for their cornering ability, but that's why it's always very difficult for them to overtake if they start behind people. So, but anyway, there we go. That is it for this stream, guys. Big thank you as always. It is going to send you over to that stream, the race stream for tomorrow. We'll be live an hour before it begins. As always, for our pre-race show, looking at the strategy options, the weather conditions, the pit stop loss time, all the relevant information that you need to enjoy the race tomorrow. Of course, I'll do my best to keep you guys as well informed. And yeah, that was a very surprising, interesting, and excitable qualifying performance. Congratulations, Charles Leclerc. They never thought the Ferrari would end up there. We thought the weather conditions may play a factor here this weekend, but we thought it would be the wet weather conditions, not the air conditions. The wind! That pesky wind, eh? It really does play a factor on these very highly developed cars and aero-tuned cars. They are very susceptible to those changes in direction, and we saw that showcased here today with pole position time being 4/10, nearly half a second slower than the time set in Q2. That is what happens. So yes, I am gonna go have a beer and chill. Not quite got a garden. I've got a balcony, but I'm gonna do that as well. So it sounds like a great idea. So thank you, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you Sunday tomorrow. Bye.